Trier, obviously, inside Germany. It's at the conflux of two rivers, a very, very vital area. And after the Battle of the Bulge, even before the Battle of the Bulge, Patton was basically fighting and arguing with Eisenhower and Bradley over the 10th Armored Division. Obviously, during the Battle of the Bulge, they pulled it from him and used it to attack into the Bulge. Afterwards, Eisenhower wanted to get a strategic reserve, basically, have some divisions off the line, so in case the Germans launched another surprise attack, they'd be better prepared. Patton thought this was ridiculous. He knew at this point Germany was spent. He wanted to put infantry divisions into the strategic reserve. Eisenhower wanted an armored one. While this is going on, Patton sends the 10th Armored with the 94th Division up this way, and lo and behold, they capture Trier. They came in from the south, turned north, but resistance was light. There were a few 88 guns that were quickly overrun. You may notice in Germany there are not many memorials to World War II and the liberation of towns and things like that. Germans would rather forget about that kind of stuff. Patton is going back and forth with Bradley on the radio, and Bradley says, do not take Trier. We cannot spare the 4 divisions. It's going to be necessary for you to take it with. And Patton emails. He radios Bradley back, and he says, taking Trier with 2 divisions. What do you want me to do, give it back? And so that's kind of what happened. You saw that scene in Sicily when they take Palermo. They were actually, in reality, it was Trier. And so from here, Patton is going to drive over to the Rhine River, and opposition before the Rhine is a little bit stiff because the Germans realize the Rhine is their last line of defense, and once that gets breached, it's going to be pretty much open field running. The Germans, what they're really trying to do is hold off the Soviets and get as many people over to the Allied lines as possible. Quick comment on the Porta Nigra. This was built in the 2nd century. It was part of a wall that encircled the entire city of Trier. At the other end of it is a stadium, which we're going to go visit. In about 1032, they knocked down all the walls, the Franks, when they came here, when they took power. But they left the Porta Nigra, and there was a town hermit that decided to have himself walled into a small cubicle in here and lived about 20 years within the Porta Nigra. After he died, the local bishop actually turned this into a church, and so people would go upstairs for their masses. It is the only remaining part. When we drive around the town, you might see other little parts of the wall, but it's really the only part that's preserved. And it wasn't made with any metal spikes or anything. It was just stone stacked on stone, to give you an idea of the technology. And it really was a light sandstone. It wasn't until the Middle Ages that the stone just started to turn black from wear and tear and age, and so that leaving what you have now. So,
this is my colleague Alex Bretz, and he's from Berlin. And Alex we're both a bit disheveled this morning because we've had a lot of running around meeting veterans. As you can imagine, you're all over the place right now. But Alex is my curator of the foundation, and you have to have a legal counsel. And he's my legal counsel, but he's also one of the leading fashion designer lawyers.
Not designer.
Designer lawyers.
Consulting to them.
Consultants.
No design on me.
Because our foundation has 2 parts to it, basically. We obviously are building on the Patton legacy, and it's not easy to deny being here and having landed here in the Saarland and in this region where so much blood was sadly spilled on all sides. And so I thought to myself, well, as an artist myself and as a performer, as a person who is in touch with the arts, what in the hell am I going to do with all of this Patton work that still needs to be done? Because one does have the sense, and here we are, when he says, I got Trier, you want me to give it back? One does have the sense, though, that there is some unfinished business in the liberation process. And I know that means very much to the veterans. And I think in coming back, there are a couple of things that I suppose you may be thinking. One is how wonderful it is that we can now enjoy being and enjoying and seeing the free people that we freed, but also hoping that it lasts, you know, hoping that it lasts anywhere, or hoping that this can be an example to everywhere. And so in a way, I guess that's what I would like to continue to work on. And therefore, sometimes I've been involved in Bosnia and, you know, with the three factions there to maintain a solidity that's that was kind of piecemeal together by the Accord, but needs to really get roots. Obviously, Palestine, Israel, we don't even need to talk about what kind of work needs to be done there. But what happened here, I mean, was unimaginable 65 years ago, that this region could be united. But it is. And so I'm interested in using it as an example for elsewhere. And but at the same time, to continue the friendship between America and this region. And you mean so much to what that's about, because for me it's the individual veteran that I met whose body was on the line for this cause. And there's a French song that says il était un garde de Géorgie, il ne savait pas de nous. He says there was just a GI from Georgia, and he came over here, and he didn't know anything about us, and he just but he died in Normandy, still not knowing anything about us, but we were freed because of him. So you came over, you know, with just pure faith, you know, that you were doing the right thing and that you were part of something bigger. And I guess I just wanted to be a part of you knowing that it really was something bigger. That's all. And I know how much Grandpa meant to the troops, and I know learning how much the troops meant to Grandpa. And I know that if he were here today, he would say what my own son said to me on the day that I went to go see the Battle of the Bulge exercises in Bastogne on the 60th anniversary. I woke my son up in the morning. It was about 4 in the morning when I had to leave, and it was a very, very cold, terrible winter day, and it was nothing. I would have liked to have brought him, but he was just too young. And he said, "So Mama, tell me one more time what Grandpa Patton did in the Second World War that makes it you have to leave at 4 in the morning and go throw nuts off a balcony with a king." I said, "Well, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "I don't get it." He said, "Why does he get all the credit? The soldiers did it." And I think that if my grandfather could have put it in his own way, that he would have said just the same thing. And he has said that. When he said, Patton is just a hook. A Patton is just a hook on which to hang, and I don't mean for death. He said, just hang on to me because I'm your symbol, but you were the ones that actually did it. And he said the credit, remember that speech in Boston? And he had a very high voice. He said, "The credit goes to you men out here." You know, and that's how he, do you remember that's how he spoke, you know. But I hate to ruin his reputation. George C. Scott gave him a nice swarthy, masculine voice, but actually he spoke up here. You sons of bitches.
Bill was an MP at your grandfather's headquarters.
Were you? I've heard some stories about other MPs who were there. Did he treat you okay? Okay.
I didn't see him that often.
No. All right.
And Harry was with the 6th Armored and the 3rd Armored and the 2nd Armored as an artilleryman.
Oh, you were in the 2nd Armored too. I'd love to hear about that.
Why would it
As far as I know, Willie went back to the farm and lived out a normal life. I'm sure that he was always looking for his master, but that's what I heard. I mean, you've seen that picture of him draped around Grandpa's trunk, and but I'll tell you a funny story about Willie. Not so funny. It wasn't funny from the soldier's point of view, but a wife, a widow, came to Normandy. I didn't even get a chance to tell you that I have a home that I'm working on in Normandy for people like you to come. If you ever need a place to stay in Normandy with your family, you have to just get in touch with me. We have a beautiful center there for contemplation and for living at Patton Camp, where he was sequestered in July 44. But anyway, during that summer, a soldier actually ran over him with his jeep, ran over Willie. And this was a big fear, obviously. They had to get Willie and took him to the Red Cross or took him to some secret veterinarian service that was covertly arranged at Camp Patton. And this soldier had a tough 24 hours, I think. But somehow Willie was reinserted and Patton never figured it out. So can you imagine being responsible for it? But you know that Willie was a coward. That's why he went from William the Conqueror to Willie. But I will say he is it's a symbol of Grandpa. And I don't know if you know, Grandpa believed in reincarnation and otherworldly matters, as you know. But Willie, in my life, has appeared at very odd times. I was entering Reims Cathedral, and one of them walked across my path. I was on my way to his grave one day, and I stopped at the gas station, and then there was one looking at the window next to me. They're very rare dogs. So I often see, whenever I see one of these, I think it was called a bull terrier, I always think, well, Grandpa's going bleep bleep. Somebody told a great story yesterday. Just last story. We were reviewing the troops. I was invited to review the troops in Thionville a couple of years ago. I guess it was for the 55th. And a woman came to me yesterday who was there, and she said, "Do you realize when you reviewed the troops, there were some starlings that went right over your head in exactly the formation that the planes or that the aircraft had done."
The missing man formation?
Yeah.
Wow.
And she said it just did the same kind of very strange. She said it sent chills up my spine, and I guess whoever was with her. But he's around, and I really do believe it. I mean, I know maybe I can be called a pagan, but there is something very present that his humanity either left with us, continues to inspire in people. Who knows what it is? I do believe it's in God, but he's a powerful person and always will be. But I think that's a sign that there's some things about him that we can take forward. And I hope that this little mini lecture has been helpful. And it means a lot to me to be able to do it to hear. And I just want to ask you, do you think we should give it back?
Okay, guys.
Thank you.